Have you ever spent hours studying at night, only to wake up the next morning with your mind completely blank? Or maybe you've had those strange days when you sleep 8 hours and still feel exhausted. Yet somehow, after only 5 hours, you wake up unusually sharp. Why does your brain work like this? Meanwhile, Japanese students manage to remember more than 2,000 kanji characters for life. Are they naturally smarter, or are they using a rhythm that you've never been taught? Today, you're going to see how small habits, simple timing, and a few quiet Japanese rituals can completely change the way your brain learns, remembers, and stays awake. Most people think forgetting is a sign of being slow or not smart enough. But the truth is much simpler. Your brain is designed to forget anything it doesn't need to use. If you only read information once, or even 3 times, your brain files it under temporary, and it disappears by the next morning. And when it comes to energy, the same problem appears. You can sleep 8 hours and still wake up groggy if you interrupt the wrong phase of your sleep cycle. It's not the length of rest that matters, but the rhythm. Here's where the Japanese approach becomes a game changer. Instead of fighting their brain, they sync their day with how the brain naturally works. They start their mornings with sunlight and a short 10-minute walk, a habit shown to boost recall by nearly 20%. They review yesterday's lessons before learning anything new, a simple form of active recall that locks information into long-term memory. They follow hara, hachi, eating until only 80% full so their energy stays stable, and at night they protect their sleep as if it were part of their study plan. In Japan, learning isn't a single activity. It's a system. From sunrise to sleep, built to help your brain remember what truly matters. If you've ever watched a Japanese student's morning routine, you'll notice something subtle but powerful. They prime their brain before they ever touch a textbook. Picture this. A student steps out of a small apartment in Tokyo just after sunrise. The air is cool, the streets are quiet, and the first thing that hits their eyes is natural morning light. As they walk toward the station, they're not scrolling on their phone. They're gently waking up their internal clock. Just 10 minutes of light walking increases blood flow to the brain and activates the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for focus and memory. Research suggests it can boost recall by nearly 20%. It's a tiny habit, but it creates a sharper mind long before the study session begins. And then comes the second ritual, review before input. On the train, instead of absorbing new material, they open a small notebook or flashcard deck and quiz themselves on yesterday's content. No passive rereading, no highlighting, just pure recall. The brain's most efficient method for long-term memory. Even the simple act of brewing a warm cup of tea, clearing the desk, or aligning notebooks signals to the brain it's time to focus. This is your learning space. While most of us start the day in a rush or on autopilot, Japanese students start with intention. They don't wait for motivation. They use rhythm to shape their mind. If the Japanese morning prepares the brain, their study methods train it. Not by working harder, but by working with how memory actually forms. Most people study by rereading. It feels productive, but the brain stays passive. Japanese learners and top performers around the world rely on active recall instead. That means closing the book, covering the answer, and forcing the brain to retrieve the information. Retrieval is effortful, and that effort is exactly what strengthens memory pathways. Then comes spaced repetition, revisiting material on day 1, day 2, day 4, day 7. This timing mirrors the brain's natural forgetting curve. Every time you review right before you're about to forget, the memory becomes more stable, like hammering a nail deeper into wood. But the Japanese don't just use techniques, they use philosophy. Their concept of kaizen, improving just 1% each day, transforms impossible goals into manageable habits. Instead of learning 50 vocabulary words in one night, a student may learn 5, but they'll learn 5 every single day. Over a year, that becomes nearly 2,000, without burnout, without panic. To protect focus, many students follow the 40-10 method, 40 minutes of deep work and 10 minutes of movement or rest. This prevents mental fatigue before it starts. And if they miss a day, they follow the rule, never miss twice. 1 slip is human. 2 slips become a pattern. Through systems, not willpower, they make studying part of daily life. Predictable, gentle, and surprisingly effective. Here's a truth almost everyone ignores. Your memory is only as strong as your recovery. You can push yourself to study until midnight, but if you wake up in the wrong stage of your sleep cycle, your brain will feel like it's swimming through fog. That's why some mornings you sleep 8 hours and still feel half alive. You woke up in the middle of REM, the phase where your brain is deeply active and dreaming. But on the rare days when you wake up at the end of a 90-minute cycle, even 5 hours of sleep can feel strangely refreshing. Japanese learners pay attention to this rhythm. They treat evenings as the beginning of tomorrow's productivity. Dinner follows hara hachi bu, eating until 80% full, so the body doesn't waste energy digesting heavy meals late at night. No food coma, no sluggishness, just steady energy. Then comes a small but powerful ritual, a 10-minute recall before sleep. Not studying new material, just mentally replaying what they learned during the day. The brain loves this. During sleep, it reorganizes and strengthens those fresh connections, storing them like files being moved into long-term folders. And before bed, they dim lights, avoid screens, and simplify their environment. It's not about perfection. It's about sending the message, we're shutting down. It's time to restore. Because if your sleep is chaotic, your memory will be chaotic. But when your recovery aligns with your study rhythm, even less effort begins to feel like more progress. There's one more layer to Japanese learning that's easy to overlook, and it might be the most powerful of all: identity. Ask yourself this: do you secretly believe you're bad at studying? Or that you just can't focus like other people? Because the way you see yourself creates the habits you choose or avoid. Japanese learners don't wait to feel motivated. They build identities around small, steady improvement. Kaizen isn't just a technique, it's a worldview. If I improve 1% today, I am becoming the kind of person who learns quickly. And identity shapes behavior. When you see yourself as a fast learner in training, you naturally protect your study time. You take the extra minute to review flashcards. You stand up for a 10-minute walk instead of scrolling on your phone. You return to the desk even after missing a day, because never miss twice is part of who you are. Another habit: teach what you learn. Japanese students often explain new material to classmates, juniors, or even to themselves in a notebook. Teaching forces the brain to reorganize knowledge, the final step before mastery. And between study sessions, they embrace silence, the walk home, the train ride, the quiet moment brewing tea. Like roots growing in the dark, your ideas settle and strengthen in those pauses. You're not lazy. You simply haven't built the identity and environment that makes learning your natural state. So let's bring it all together. A sharper mind isn't built from long nights or endless motivation. It comes from rhythm, from the way you greet the morning light, from a 10-minute walk that boosts your recall, from reviewing old knowledge before adding new, from tiny Kaizen improvements, from eating just enough, not too much, from sleeping in harmony with your cycles, and from seeing yourself not as someone who tries to study, but as someone who learns with intention. You don't need to change everything tomorrow. You only need one tiny habit, the first 1%. So here's your challenge. Tomorrow morning, step outside for 10 minutes before you study. Or tonight, spend just 5 minutes recalling what you learned today. Small actions become identity. Identity becomes momentum. and momentum becomes the version of you who learns faster than you ever believed.